I'm Maria Elena Giassi, and this is Currents. World Youth Day pilgrims gather with Pope Benedict for a vigil service. Plus, we'll catch up with the Diocese of Brooklyn at World Youth Day as they listen to a couple of local bishops.
Every human life matters. Every human life is precious. Every human life is beautiful.
And she worked hard to get the chance to travel to Spain. She shares her eyewitness.
We did a lot of fundraising in the church, and the parish helped out a lot. I'm working now in the summer program, so working with the kids from the parish and from the community.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Matt McClure has the night off. It's been an eventful 5 days so far in Spain, with 1.5 million young Catholics from around the world gathering for prayer and celebration at World Youth Day. Tonight, the pilgrims converged on Madrid's Cuatro Vientos aerodrome for a vigil service with Pope Benedict. Rain and wind delayed the service, and the vigil was interrupted to make sure the altar was secure, but the weather did nothing to dampen the spirits of the pilgrims who gathered for prayer.
Evening prayer rise up to you, Lord, the Pope is saying, and may the gentle dew of your love descend upon us. If you keep my commandments, you will remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and remain in his love. The Lord is here, and he is calling you. Young friends, it is good to hear within us the word of Jesus and to follow in his footsteps. Ask the Lord to help you to discover your vocation in life and in the church, and to persevere in it with joy and fidelity, knowing that he never abandons you or betrays you. Well, it looks like the Holy Father had to shorten his homily.
The pilgrims will spend the night at the aerodrome ahead of tomorrow's final Mass at World Youth Day. We will bring you that Mass live here on the net beginning at 3:20 in the morning. And this evening's vigil at the aerodrome came at the end of what was a very busy day for Benedict. It started this morning when he celebrated Mass for close to 5,000 seminarians from around the world. Benedict said the young men should thank God for their vocation and asked them to be sincere and obedient to their superiors. He also had some advice for the men during their time in the seminary.
De 15 años de silencio interior, de permanente oración, de constante estudio y de inserción paulatina en las acciones y estructuras pastorales de la Iglesia.
Pope Benedict told the seminarians that God gives them the grace to overcome any challenges they may face. Benedict also heard confessions from 4 World Youth Day pilgrims. The young people were chosen by a drawing, and the Pope heard their confessions in Italian, French, and German. It was a part of the Festival of Forgiveness, in which 200 open-air confessionals were set up in a park in Madrid for anyone who wanted to take part in the sacrament. In other news, Pope Benedict has declared a 16th century Spanish saint a doctor of the Church. San Juan de Avila was a strong advocate for reforming the clergy, and his writing influenced the Council of Trent. He becomes one of only 33 doctors of the Church. The distinction is given to saints considered great teachers of faith, whose works are still relevant today. Stay tuned. There's much more currents ahead. When we return, the Diocese of Brooklyn hears from a couple of local bishops at World Youth Day. We'll have that and more next. Welcome back to Currents. I'm Maria Elena Giassi. Be sure not to pass by on the other side in the face of human suffering. That's the message Benedict brought to World Youth Day pilgrims who gathered in Madrid yesterday for the Way of the Cross. The Pope told the pilgrims that faced with suffering, God expects us to give our very best. During yesterday's Way of the Cross, reflections from the Sisters of the Cross were read. The sisters serve the poor and most needy. And on Friday, the pilgrims from the Diocese of Brooklyn had the opportunity to hear other powerful messages from some local bishops. Our Antonina Zielinska has more on that.
Behind me now, the pilgrims from the Brooklyn Diocese are in their final preparation before embarking on their pilgrimage to the site where the Holy Father will say Mass for the World Youth Day 2011. These preparations included catechesis from bishops all around the world, including Brooklyn's own Bishop Caggiano.
The bishop spoke about just our dignity as young people and our beauty as young people and our value and the importance of and he reminded us really of the importance of our beauty and our worth to God.
That God, when he chose to enter the world, became something beautiful because he chose to take a human life. And that means, as Christians, when we say who Jesus is, we proclaim to all the world that every human life matters. Every human life is precious. Every human life is beautiful.
Whatever is said, even if it is more difficult to understand, is always something that these young people will take away from them. So the catechesis for the young people have been great experiences.
It's very nice. I like the catechesis today the best with Archbishop Dolan. It was amazing. It was mainly around like our faith, to not forget about it and to trying not to go back home and just say, all right, I'm going to do this and not do anything, but to go back home and push to do more than you say that you're going to.
When the world sees us never losing our hope, they want to know why. And they're going to hear about Jesus. St. Peter says, be always ready to give reasons for the hope that you have. So our evangelization, our missionary zeal will stem from that virtue of hope deep in our heart and soul.
I think that's like the best idea of the whole trip, to have catechesis in the morning with everybody else, and that was good for me. That helped me out a lot.
Now we've just finished the Stations of the Cross, which we've done as a group together with commentary from myself and the young people reading the stations. We can never follow Jesus on the way of the cross without being moved, because we recognize his suffering and we also see ourselves in that suffering.
So far this one is the best because I love the singing and just like everything, like even though we didn't actually act things out, the vivid descriptions in the book, it help us like understand it even better.
Lamb of God, you
catechesis sessions by Bishop Caggiano and Archbishop Dolan are part of a series being presented by 8 U.S. bishops for English-speaking World Youth Day pilgrims. We've posted Bishop Caggiano's sessions on our blog. Be sure to check them out. He shares some powerful personal stories. Just go to currentsny.net and click on Riding the Wave. And while you're there, be sure to watch other updates from Brooklyn pilgrims at World Youth Day. Stay tuned. There's more Currents ahead. Coming up, vocations are alive and well in Spain. Pope Benedict meets with some of the country's young religious sisters. Welcome back. Since landing in Madrid on Thursday, the Pope has met with a number of groups as part of this week's World Youth Day events. And at each meeting, he's brought a message. Yesterday, Benedict headed just north of Madrid to speak to an enthusiastic group of religious sisters at St. Lawrence Monastery. The Pope told the sisters that the consecrated life that they have entered is a form of gospel radicalism. He said that radicalism is needed to counter an eclipse of God that is taking place, in which the treasures of the Catholic faith are being denied. Rome Reports has more now on yesterday's meeting.
Around 1,600 young religious waited for Benedict XVI in the monastery of El Escorial. 4 of them accompanied the Pope through the door to enter the patio of the kings. The Cardinal and Archbishop of Madrid, Antonio María Rocco Varela, thanked the Pope for his visit with the religious of Spain.
Ponen un especial y entrañable acento, apreciando el regalo de este encuentro con su santidad como un gesto delicadísimo de su paternidad para con ellas.
Cardinal Rocco Varela acknowledged the work already undertaken by these young volunteers and religious for the World Youth Day.
Sin las religiosas, querido Santo Padre, sin su aportación, sobre todo la espiritual, la Jornada Mundial de la Juventud no sería posible. Son de lo mejor de la juventud de la Iglesia y de la sociedad. Y por supuesto, de España.
The Pope took the motto of World Youth Day and the life examples of some of those attending the event to explain the vocation of religious life.
La radicalidad evangélica es estar arraigados, edificados en Cristo y firmes en la fe, que en la vida consagrada significa ir a la raíz del amor a Jesucristo con un corazón indiviso, sin anteponer nada a ese amor, con una pertenencia esponsal como la han vivido los santos, al estilo de Rosa de Lima y Rafael Arnaiz, jóvenes patronos de esta Jornada Mundial de la Juventud.
Benedict XVI also spoke about how a personal encounter with Jesus has a special impact on their lives and in society.
El encuentro personal con Cristo que nutre vuestra consagración debe testimoniarse con toda su fuerza transformadora en vuestras vidas.
The Pope explained that responding to the vocation is the clearest way to bear witness in society.
Este es el testimonio de la santidad a la que Dios os llama, siguiendo muy de cerca sin condiciones a Jesucristo en la consagración, la comunión y la misión. La Iglesia necesita de vuestra fidelidad joven, arraigada, edificada en Cristo. Gracias puestos y generoso, total y perpetuo a la llamada del amado.
In the monastery of San Lorenzo of El Escorial lives a community of 28 Augustinian religious and has been a World Heritage Site since 1984.
Stay tuned. There's more Currents ahead. When we return, it's an experience she'll always remember. This local World Youth Day pilgrim shares her eyewitness.
It would allow us to make friends from around the world, and the bond between it and that holds it together would be God. It gives me great confidence that the church itself is continuing to grow, and I know that we together will be the future of the church.
Finally tonight, getting to World Youth Day is about more than just hopping on a plane. It's a journey, both spiritually and materially. Just ask Kelly Ortiz, one of 4 college students from Mary of Nazareth Parish in Fort Greene, Brooklyn, who were chosen to represent their church at World Youth Day. Before heading off to Spain, Kelly sat down to talk with us about her journey to World Youth Day and what she was most looking forward to. Kelly Ortiz is tonight's eyewitness.
I believe that my faith is very strong now because I've been coming to the church all my life and I never stopped coming. I love God. My parents are religious. We come to church every Sunday. This will be my first time outside of the country, so going to Spain will be a really great experience. We did a lot of fundraising in the church and the parish helped out a lot. We have done bake sales where I've baked and Maria baked, and Omar and Alejandro, they helped us set up in the back and to sell everything. We have also done a big breakfast where we made a plate of food and we sold drinks and fruit and everything, where Alejandro and his parents, they all cooked. And we also have done a big raffle of a beautiful picture of a Virgin Mary. I'm working now in the summer program, so working with the kids from the parish and from the community. It's going to be a great experience to see youth from around the world come together for one thing, which is to worship the Lord and to hear the words of God. We get to meet the Pope and we get to work together as youth. And it shows that the church itself does have a future with our youth today. This will be my first time seeing the Pope. It's very exciting because he is the closest to God. So to see him is a real blessing. Just being in his presence will allow my faith to be even stronger. I am the youth of the church, and by going to World Youth Day, seeing other youth, you get to see how they do things differently than we do here. You take bits and pieces of it and you bring it back, and you can say, oh, well, in this country, they do this, and it's different here, but it's all for the same reason, which is for God. It would allow us to make friends from around the world, and the bond between it and that holds it together would be God. And as I meet other youth from around the world, it gives me great confidence that the church itself is continuing to grow, and I know that we together will be the future of the church. I'm very joyful to be going to Spain because it's a life-changing experience, and I'm not too sure what to expect because I've never gone to any World Youth Days. I've heard of different stories from people, but everyone has their own experience, so I'm excited to see what's going to be mine and what I could bring back and tell people.
Be sure to stay with us for the latest updates on the Brooklyn Pilgrims, like Kelly Ortiz, at World Youth Day. And stay with NET for live coverage of events from Madrid, Spain. Join us tomorrow morning at 3:20 when we bring you the final World Youth Day Mass, live from Cuatro Vientos Aerodome. Then at 11:20 tomorrow morning, Benedict will meet with World Youth Day volunteers before heading to Barajas Airport to depart Spain. And be sure to join us again tomorrow night at 7:30 for another edition of Currents when we recap all of Sunday's events. But don't go anywhere. Just ahead, an encore presentation of this evening's vigil service from Madrid. For all of us here at Currents, I'm Maria Elena Giassi. Thank you for watching. We leave you now with images from earlier today when Pope Benedict visited a center for the sick.